All right. So, hello everyone, and we are here from Coaching for Education. This is our first live, so I'm a little bit nervous. Carla looks confident, and I think Jacob will just really rock the boat with all his smart answers. So, we are here to tell you a little bit about Coaching for Education. We are all coaches, and we want to share with you something that brought us into coaching world and inspired us to create Coaching for Education for the global community. So my name is Beatrix. I'm one of the founders of R.A.C.E, which stands for Raise Awareness of Coaching in Education. And I'm here to introduce you to two amazing people from other countries than where I am. So I'm in Dubai in the UAE, and I would like to introduce you to an amazing lady having 3 kids. And looks amazing. Carla Magdalena. So Carla is from and calling in from the UK, and she's going to manage the chat box. So any questions you have, anything you want to ask us or to let us know, feel free to message, because Carla is going to be there on responding to you, and I will also invite her to share with us the questions that are coming up or the comments that are coming up. So feel free to interact with us. In fact, we would love to hear from you. So, Carla, would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Beatrix. So yes, I'm a mom of 3, and I think that's my full-time job. It has been for many, many years. But I've also been a teacher for 15 years, a teacher of special education. And I recently left that to work at home, mainly looking after my son, and also running a podcast and working with different groups of podcasters for different things. But my podcast in particular is all about education and well-being, and how we improve education outcomes by focusing on the well-being of parents and teachers. And I also do a lot of creative things, write poetry and paint and things like that. So when I'm not looking after my son and doing podcasting, that's what I do.
Amazing. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And also, Carla, I think you're going to have your podcast now with new episodes from R.A.C.E and interviewing R.A.C.E members. So we are all looking forward to it. And yeah, poetry sounds very interesting. And thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me, Beatrice.
So Jacob is a very good friend of mine. We studied neurolanguage coaching together, and that was my introduction into the coaching world through a subject I've been teaching for many years, and knowing about neuroscience and how it can revolutionize the language learning process was just really mind-blowing. So I went on to learn more about coaching. But Jacob really went on to become a super professional in neurolanguage coaching. So if you're interested, now he can train you and tell you how you can really transform the mindset of your students and accelerate the language learning process as well. Jacob, would you share something more about you?
Yeah, thanks. I would do without the super. So just a new language coach. But thanks anyway. Yeah. My name is Jacob Hawsa, and well, as Beatrice has just said, I'm a neurolanguage coach. I've worked in education and specifically languages for many years. And then I was introduced to the world of coaching, just like Beatrix, through neurolanguage coaching, which is basically neuroscience or the principles of neuroscience together with coaching, and how to use these two tools to really make learning languages much more efficient and effective. And I have to say that neurolanguage coaching is a method was created by Rachel Palin, and I've always been interested in neuroscience, and the more we know about the brain, because we are just moving brains. So the more we know about the brain, the more um, we we be able to in education we'll be able to absolutely make this process more brain friendly. Um, Learning languages specifically or any other topic will be much um, easier, I might say, effective, efficient, and at the same time, we make sure that no other blockages in the brain will stop that process of learning.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be part of R.A.C.E, this great initiative really to introduce all that to the to education system all
Yeah,
over
I
the world.
agree. Yes. Yeah, I agree with you. And I think recently you started learning German. Um, is that with a neuro language coach?
I've had I've had a new language coach for some time, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's partly it. And then what I have learned from coaching
Mm-hmm.
and neuro language coaching, I'm applying that. So yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully I'll go back to my neuro language coach
Mm-hmm.
whenever
Yeah.
the time allows.
Yeah. Did you experience the difference? Because for me, it really started dawning on me when I started learning Arabic with a neuro language coach. And
Yeah.
I went to, please just let me have, say, 2 sentences in Arabic by the end of the month, to actually telling people about my last weekend in several sentences in a very short while. So it was very powerful. What was your experience?
Well, the I think at the beginning, I saw the effect of neuro language coaching or neuro language coaching on my students.
Mm-hmm.
Where I taught at the Royal Saudi Air Force, and whatever I learned at the time, I would take that back and just apply it on them.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say this, that my classroom at one point turned into a classroom of many teachers, if you like, rather than a teacher and student.
Mm-hmm.
I saw students getting absolutely the ultimate ownership of their learning in a
Mm-hmm.
way I'd never experienced before that.
Mm-hmm.
You would, and then learners will just do the whole work by themselves, and I was only there. I grew really in a way strange to the front of the classroom. For example, I would always go and just disappear at the back, and whenever they needed me, I am just there. I and you would have even the conversations with the learners just change absolutely. They would be talking to you as a coach or as an educator about their lesson plans. They would build their lesson plans. They would if imagine that they would come to you and say, by the way, I've reached and finished and achieved these objectives, and I think I'm done for now. And absolutely, for me, that is quite rewarding. So that's just
Yeah.
part of coaching for
Yeah,
me.
Jacob, that is phenomenal. Like if I think back of being in a classroom, that you could disappear in the back of the classroom and students could still go on, whoa. And they were creating their own lesson plans. Well, that's an ideal, situation and a scenario many teachers are desiring, they just want this to happen in their classroom. So would there be a couple of top tips that you would give teachers to get started on this journey to the dreamland?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I'd always say um, one really important thing we do all as coaches is giving the ownership and responsibility back to the coachee or the learner. Once they take responsibility of their own action, that's it. They will just do wonders. Um, and then from that, we can always bring in coaching conversations so we can dig in and look for their motivation. Once they put these two together, and then the educator will be, as I always, the way I always put it, the learner will be the owner of this learning vehicle. I always think of it as driving a bus. So the learner will have the key to the of the bus. The learner will put the plan, will choose the stations or the stops. The learner will decide who gets on and who doesn't. The learner will as well decide which speed. So each and every learner to their own pace. And as a coach, you are there as the GPS. So you can, in a way, switch you on, switch you off whenever they need help, if they do. Other than that, you just they're observing. The more they do, actually, the more they learn.
Yeah, that's super amazing. The way you talk about it, to me, it sounds like you are living the student-centered learning. We talk about student-centered learning very often, but what I'm experiencing is that we just have bits and pieces here and there, and uh, it's not transforming the paradigm of student-centered learning. It's only kind of giving tips of do this, and do that. But what you are talking about, and I'm really fond of the metaphor, driving the bus. Like I can be that bus driver and I can have the whole responsibility and the choice to let people in or no, use the GPS or no.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's a great metaphor to describe it. And talking of languages, because that's that's your specialization, and you are implementing it in language learning classes, would there be one or two strategies that you would share with us that are specific to the language learning class and something that really helped you to um, to give that ownership to the students when it comes to learning?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to languages, um, I think neuro language coaching has, transformed me, um, like, I would say completely. Um, so, for example, when it comes to languages, learning a language is not an easy task, but it can be managed. And from what we know, for example, from neuroscience, that um, the brain loves, in a way, to take ownership. The brain loves to learn in bits, because what we have at schools and is learners are faced with learning, say, different topics. Language is one of them, and the minute they are faced with language, they just see it as really this huge task that can't be handled. And facing that, immediately the brain will fall into a state of fight, flight, or freeze. And we don't have any control on that. It's just something will have to happen. However, what we can do, if we, for example, cut language into small bits, and um, having the learner as well, contributing it on building those tips and how they, what they want to learn. and that is basically setting the objectives or goals, asking the learner how they prefer to learn, because again, that's another crucial topic, to ask the learner how they prefer to learn. I might like reading. Carla might not like reading. Actually, she might actually, the minute she sees a book, she just go, "Oh my God, just too many lines," and it's normal. And most of the time, educators, they're doing really great job, and deep inside they want to help. A lot of educators just burn themselves out just to help their learners, but sometimes not knowing what is going on, and then the whole learning situation just collapses. So yeah, so helping the learner to build their own goals, however however big or small, that doesn't matter. That's absolutely up to the learner. So always taking things into bits. We can always focus on pace. Again, in our education systems around the world, there's just one pace, one size fits all. If you don't fit into that, you'll be labeled, unfortunately. But again, there are no, and this is from neuroscience again, there are no two brains are the same. So each and every single brain needs to get their education journey tailored exactly to them, if we want them really to get the maximum benefit out of education.
Very important points you're mentioning, and I love all of them. Really, I can relate to it a lot, and experiencing it in the classroom, it gives you that reward that will keep you going. Once you see it happening once, that small success will be enough for you to keep going and keep looking into how can I do more of it. So they're very hands-on tips and tools. So thank you for sharing them. And having talking about a different approach to teaching, a different approach to really transfer that responsibility to the learners and let them, guide you and let you be a facilitator, is again very often talked about and not as often maybe implemented in real life or online situations. Talking about distance learning and the online classes. So knowing what you know now and having lived through, especially last 2 years, a change and renewed interest in reimagining education, how do you see the future of education?
Well, I'm really happy that coaching, with its all different types and brands, is getting more and more out into if you like, the surface. I know coaching's been there for quite some time, but it's really fulfilling, and I'm glad to see it that it's just expanding. We might have still I would say a long way to go, but some way to go still, introducing that into bigger education or educational organizations. At the moment, the way I see it, it still hasn't reached let's say the top, or let's say the decisions makers, the executive level when it comes to education. But I'm all optimistic that we are going to make a big difference, and hopefully online learning these days is definitely helping.
Yes, yeah. So you're saying huge waves are coming. Right now it's very quiet. tranquility, but maybe the high tide is approaching us.
Well, which high tide? Is it with us or against us? But
Of course, with us.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's I think you, Carla, and you, Beatrix, you may have witnessed as well. You know, nowadays a lot of people are wondering. They hear about education. They're more curious, and so you know that's on its own is really a good sign.
Yes. Yeah, curiosity. And that's also triggered by the circumstances. Many parents are tasked now with homeschooling. They have to take on the role of teachers, so becoming a teachers or educating. So there is an increased interest on, okay, so how can I do it? So what you are saying applies not only to parents, not only to teachers, but parents as well. So I'm assuming many of the parents can also take away something from what you are sharing with us when they are listening to this recording. Now, you mentioned coaching and education, and we are talking about here coaching for education and race. So, how do you see it? What is your relationship with coaching for education and with race?
Well, thanks to you for this great initiative. I think coaching for education is um, it's a great platform because we have among us coaches and educators and specialists from so many different traits and fields. So, yes, it is for education. And nowadays, as you've said, just um, almost everybody on the planet just turned into educators just overnight. So,
Yep.
when we say coaching for education, it's basically coaching for the whole world. And
Mm-hmm.
whoever we are, um, whether we have chosen to be educators or we found ourselves into that situation of either being parent of students or even teachers working now at homes. And so whoever we are, coaching for education will definitely have a great and fulfilling if you like platform for you. So you find educators, you find coaches of different types, you find just specialists who will definitely be of great help. We're happy to welcome you, whether you reach to us or we've reached to you, and yeah, at R.A.C.E. And as it's from the logo, from the acronym RACE, so in a way we are racing, and we are really looking forward to raise the awareness of coaching in education.
Mm-hmm. Great. What is it you are most enjoying about it? Um, and being part of it. Yes, you are one of the. We are, so it's no secret that we are working together on making this initiative happen, letting people know that we are out there, connecting those people who can create and maintain meaningful relationships like coaches and parents and students. But personally, for you, what is it in coaching for education in race that stands out?
Yeah, well, so I think we all have this common goal and cause that we do care,
Mm-hmm.
and we care not just about um, learners, but educators, parents. So that's basically the whole world. And the great thing about it that we've come together, and we have a great vision. So it's going to be an adventure,
Yes.
and in a way mysterious. So that's another thing about it. but as you can see, we are all here working just as one, if you like, one family.
Yes.
I know that, it's like only the three of us here, but behind the scene, we've got all the other wonderful members and volunteers who are really helping. And whatever we do, however we do it, we all, at the end, we all, come back together because we do have that just one vision, which is giving what we have experienced from coaching, and we have probably forever be grateful. So now we are just ready to give this fantastic and excellent experience to the world. So
Yes.
the cause that put R.A.C.E members and volunteers together is absolutely a high cause.
Yes, I agree with you. And we are in this together. And I like how you're saying that we are one family, and this high cause really unites us, which I do believe it does very strongly. And the passion that we have for education and the transformation we received from coaching, we feel that this is the way we can give back to the society, give back to people, give back to the world. So that's really well phrased, and thank you for sharing that. Let me go back to Carla and ask you, I'm wondering if you received comments or questions at this stage.
No, I don't see any coming up at the moment.
Okay, that's fine. And also, Carla, as you have been here with us for this half an hour and you are listening to us, talking about coaching, education, and languages, and many other things, what are the things that you are taking away from this conversation?
When Jacob was talking, I always think about the village that they say it takes to raise a child. And I remember when I first had my first child and I heard about that and I was like, where? Village, where? There's no village. You have to search for it. And listening to Jacob really made me realize that it's coming back, and it's come back out of necessity, I think. And the last couple of years, people have started to look around and really say, well, where's my village? Who's going to help me with my kid? Or who's going to help me with my class? And the shift to online teaching, I think, really made a lot of teachers and a lot of parents realize that they were alone in the task, or feel like they were alone in the task. And it really made them start to think about ways to connect with each other. And you have so many people out there that are doing wonderful things, but they're doing it in pockets and they're doing it in isolation. And I think now we've seen this big shift away from that and more of a, okay, let me see who I can get help from. Not only that, but then also who can I help too? And I think that's one of the wonderful things that I've seen. And Jacob's, what he was saying just really made me think about that. And I think what we're doing here at R.A.C.E is a big piece of the missing puzzle from what I've seen in my struggles in working with mainly parents and teachers who deal with children who have the most problems in the education system. The children with special education needs, they are the ones that have been flagging up the system as having problems for a long time. They're the ones that have made everybody sort of scratch their head and say, this is not working. And I've seen, through what we're doing here at R.A.C.E, there's so much potential for those people also to get access to help that really does make a difference, not just the things that we've seen over the years. So it's really exciting, actually, to bring the concept of coaching to educators and parents to improve education. It seems like a no-brainer when we sit here talking about it, doesn't it? It's like, oh, wow.
Yes.
But thankfully, we've got there, and the doors are opening all the time for us to take this more and more to different places where it needs to be. So it's a really exciting time.
Yes. No, absolutely, I do agree. And I like what you are saying, Carla, with the village. And also when you said, so where can I get help from, and where can I help? I loved that really a lot. And the awareness of it. So being aware that we might need help, or being aware that we can help others as well. We also have skills and tools and it's only the intention we need to have to go out there and offer a helping hand or accept somebody who wants to help us, because that's also something great. It was a really enjoyable conversation, and thank you, both of you, for being here and being so willing to share your experiences and sharing your insights. These conversations are going to go on. So in the coming weeks, between 7:30 and 8, I'm going to interview other R.A.C.E members as well about R.A.C.E, about coaching, about education, their experience, their vision. So we welcome you back, and please let us know when you are listening to this recording what questions you want us to answer, what can help you more, what is it you want to have more of, what is it you want to have less of. And we are going to take all of that into consideration. We want to interact with you, we want to hear your thoughts, and we are looking forward to having you. Thank you, Jacob, and thank you, Carla.
Thank you, Beatrix.
Adios, amigos.
All right. Ciao.